everyone, today I will be showing you three small tricks that I usually do to a lot of my portrait photos that I took to add some interesting touch to the original photos. And I have been playing around with a lot of different tools in Photoshop, and these are three small tricks that I found very effective if you just want to make your photo look interesting but still want to keeping that natural look from the original photo that you took. So this photo that I took of Malia at Minnehaha Waterfall in Minneapolis. This is a very beautiful location, and I recommend everyone to if you have a chance to visit Minneapolis in Minnesota, make sure to visit this spot because you will find a lot of amazing angles that incorporate waterfall, creek, trees and flowers, part. I think it's half is all. So I would definitely recommend everyone to, especially photographers, to definitely pay this place a visit. So no further ado, so let's jump into it. So the first step that I want to talk about is to adding a faded or hazy look to the background, and one way to do that is using a curve layer. So go ahead and create a curve layers, and if you scroll down to the bottom left corner to add haze to the photo or make it look kind of hazy, just took the bottom and just go straight up, and you can go kind of slowly so you can see the effect that it does to the picture as well. I think right here should be good. So one thing you notice that if you're going up, everything else, you see that line that draws straight up to the top right corner, that line is slowly going up as well. So basically whatever in between is go up. So that's what makes some of that like bright spot on, or actually some of the mid-level or mid color go up as well, and that's what we don't want. We want to keep that so that all of the detail is still maintained. So I'm gonna click on this. It will create a dot, and I'm gonna pull it down. So you see now it get back some of that color that we lost, and then you can see that line being kind of transformed as well. You can create more dots as well and kind of play around with that, but for simplicity, this is what I'm gonna go with. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on the eyes to actually see the before and after. So this is before, this is after. And right now, don't pay attention to the models, just pay attention to the background. And you can see that the background look pretty good, very hazy. One of the things it worked really well with waterfall is that, you know, waterfall when it hit the bottom is always kind of flashing, either small or big, but it splashed a little bit to the side, and it create a mist or like foggy kind of look at the bottom, and that's what we want to go for. We want to create that look so that some of these like dark spot, it look like water or mist being kind of flying back left and right. So that's what it is. But one thing is, you notice that it's actually applying that effect on the model as well. And if you look at the original photo, the model looked really good. Like she very contrast, so everything on her is super stand out. Her hair is stand out, her dress is dark and it stand out as well. So we want to keep that, and the way we're gonna keep that is we're gonna use a black brush on the white foreground. Black brush meaning that it will take away that. A white brush on the black foreground will actually do the opposite. So this one is we take away that effect from the model. So I have the black brush, selecting the brush, and instead of going with 100%, I'm gonna go with somewhat 50%. And the reason why I'm going with 50% because I still want some of that effect to still apply to the models. I don't want to take completely 100% from that, and it's very up to everyone's taste. Some people prefer to erase everything 100%. Some people prefer to go 75. I usually go from 35 to 50%. So let's see how it look like, and you can see immediately that effect is being taken away from the models. Yep, and after you're done with that, you can go ahead. If you hold Control and click on your layer mask, you will see what area has been taken away. So you see that this taken away. If you don't like that and want to be a little bit more careful, you can actually keep brushing on it to make sure you cover all of the area that you miss. Okay, and now it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the before and after. Now it looks like that effect is only being applied to the background, which is what we want. Okay, and then the second step that I usually do is I create what we call the clipping mask. Clipping mask only apply to the original layer mask. So remember this curve layer that we just did, that adding that faded look to just the background and not the model. I want the same layer mask to affect the same region of this curve layer mask. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a level, and then I'm gonna hold Alt, ALT on your keyboard. When you hold it, immediately you will see this arrow pointing down. If you click on it, you create a clipping mask. So whatever effect that you're modifying on this level layers, it will only affecting the region of this curve layer mask. You can see that it's only affecting the outside, not the model. And I go with the level because I want to bring back some of that contrast, some of that darkness from the original photos. So one of that is go with the 5 on this, and then pull this one back to maybe 245. And feel free to play around with some of these numbers, and you will have a better understanding of what you're looking for. So 0.95. This is almost like my default, but sometimes I do change some of these numbers as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at that. So it just brings back some of that darkness. And if you click on this curve, originally it will turn on and turn off both of these layers. So this is without the level and the curve layer, and this is with that. Okay, and this one's already looked pretty interesting already, but the last step that I always experiment, sometimes I don't even use it, but it's good to experiment and choose what you like. And if you don't even like it, then you can just go with what you already have. But the last step, the final step I usually do is using what we call color lookup. And color lookup adding a lot of unique different style to your photos, and I encourage everyone to play around with that and see what you liked. And I'm gonna go ahead and so one thing I always want to make a good selection of the background is using what Photoshop offer is a subject. if you go to select and select subjects, what it does is it will make a really good selection of the models, which is the subjects. And if you hold Control Shift Alt, you will inverse that selection, and it will select everything else beside the models. And now you want to apply that color lookup effect on just the background. So if you go to this and select color lookup, and you have a lot of defaults from Photoshop. I did buy some more, so I have a little bit more than you guys, but Photoshop by default offer I think about 15 of them. And for simplicity, actually for easier demonstration, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this at maybe 45%. If you go with 100%, what you find out is some of these color lookup is really strong, and it's making the background look super fake. So I do recommend going with somewhat 35 to 45%. Sometimes you can go up to 60 or 75% depending on what sort of look that you, what sort of vision you have. But I felt like 35 to 45% is a really good range to try some of these color lookup. And I'm gonna go ahead and try that. So this is the first one. You can see that this one looked really cool already. Candlelight looked really good as well. And you just scroll down the list, and you can find a lot of different interesting style to it. This foggy night is really cool. So it's a little bit too strong, so what you could do is you can decrease that and see at what point you sort of okay with how it looks. I think this is look pretty good. 37% look really cool. Okay, let's keep going to see what else can we find. This is actually one of my favorite as well, just for this picture. It's just making everything look sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of like a fairyland. So like when you go to that, everything sort of hazy, foggy, desaturated, and that's what it looked like to me. So this one actually one of my favorite, and this is actually the one that I ended up using. And then you can sort of play around with the opacity as well and see what sort of look you go with that. Yeah, this one I actually recommend go up to 75%. It just make the background look very interesting. You can go to like 30 as well, but 30 is sort of in between. If you want to go for a more distinctive look, I think 60 would be a good one. 65 or 60. I think let's go with 60. And you can see that this looked really cool already. And one thing I want to add more into this as well, and feel free to try the other one as well, but I think this is my favorite, so I'm gonna stop at this one. And you can go ahead and create another clipping mask, and then this one I just want to add just a slight color touch to the background, and then I'm gonna apply that color, which is sort of greenish. Let's go with this color, and then I'm gonna clip that to the color lookup layer, and you can see that it's applied to the background, but right now it's too strong. So like I said, I think 35 to 45% is like a magic number for everything. So if you're not sure, I think if you remember that, I think it's really gonna help you out. 30%, I'm gonna go with 30% for this one, and go ahead and turn on and off. Yeah, some people actually prefer this. Some people wanna go for a little bit more color distinctive, so this one might be a good one as well. I think I like this, but it's a little bit too strong. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna go with a different layer mode. And I think I'm gonna stick with the soft light. Let's see what the soft light does. So the soft light look really cool. The soft light adding more contrast and not more contrast, but still keeping that original color tone of the color lookup. So if I turn this off, you can see that everything kind of desaturated, very kind of white grayish. And when I'm adding this color with the soft light layer mode, I'm getting a very interesting color to the background. And this is what I come up with. So let me recap the 3-step. There's some other smaller step within the 3-step as well, but the 3-step that I found very useful to my editing to my editing workflow is the first thing is adding hazy foggy look to the background by using a curve layers. The second step is to use a clipping mask, and the second step kind of general because you can use clipping mask to do a lot of different things with the original layer that you do. So for me, my clipping mask on my second step were to darken the background a little bit because my dehaze or my curve layer adding too much haze to the background. So my clipping mask were to get back some of that darkness from the original photos. And then the last step that I have is using color lookup. And this one, I felt like this step is like amazing to me because you could see that you do so little work, so little effort, but you get such an amazing look to the background. It's almost like someone, I don't know how to explain it, but it almost look like you make the background look so much interesting, and then if someone else that doesn't know anything about Photoshop and looking at how you edit that photo, they must be like, wow, you must be doing so many different things to your background in order to get that look. But it's very simple. It's just color lookup, and then you just kind of play around to different presets that Photoshop offer, and then start with the one you like, adjust the opacity depend on your taste, and then on top of that color lookup you can add the clipping mask just like how I did it, and then you can kind of manipulate the color of that color lookup that you originally choose. And that's how I do it. Let's take a very quick look at the before and after. I'm gonna group this into a folder so that's why it's easier. So this is before and this is after. Before, after. Very, very interesting look to the background. Let's take another look at the before and after. And if you love the videos, leave me a thumbs up or a comment. Let me know how you think. If you have any other question, let me know. I would love to answer those questions. And I just started my channel, so it will be really helpful if you can subscribe to my channel. I will try my best to consistently recording something and push it out on the channel every week. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.